Did you know that in China, pregnant women are required to wear special shielded clothing that protects their unborn children? I didn't either. Protect them from what? This apron, commonly used by pregnant Chinese women, uses special fabric that shields the embryo from RF or microwave radiation, like the kind that comes out of your cell phone and Wi-Fi routers. Did you know that in Israel, the parliament approved a bill requiring all cell phones for sale have this label? Warning. The health ministry cautions that heavy use and carrying this device next to the body may increase the risk of cancer, especially among children. I didn't know that, nor did I know that in 2011, the World Health Organization reclassified RF radiation, or microwave radiation, as a Class 2B carcinogen. That's the same category as lead. This video is probably one of the most important exposés that I've done so far because the subject matter deeply impacts every single one of us. It impacts our families, our friends, our children, and our unborn grandchildren. It's why scientists with the most experience with these microwave frequencies are saying things like this.
I think anyone who puts Wi-Fi into a school should be locked up for the rest of their life. I really do. I think they're not fit to walk on the surface of this planet because they haven't looked at the research, they don't read all of the papers as I do.
And by the end of this video, you're going to know why he said that. There was a line from the George Orwell book in 1984 that said, "The people will not revolt. They will not look up from their screens long enough to notice what is happening." Are we there yet? Today, the most profound revolutionary act that you can do is to become educated on nothing less than the whole truth. You have found a video that will bring you in the know of a very deep and pervasive danger that few realize exists. And unlike fear porn, also way too pervasive today, this video will arm you with the knowledge and understanding of this technology, as well as show you the tools that you can use to shield you and your families against it. Where have you been, Dana Ashley? Hello, friends and family. I apologize for my absence, but the challenges that have kept me away are why I have so much incredible and insightful information to share with you today. So although I've been through some stuff, it was a blessing because it has brought me some truth bombs that are going to blow your mind today. You know, there was a video I did about AI that said, there's a reason why they're doing this now. This unleashing of the internet and all of these incredibly addictive techie gadgets upon us all so quickly was absolutely on purpose. They knew the addictive qualities that the technology would have on our psychology. You've seen Facebook leaders admit that they intentionally used what became triggers to dopamine responses in our brains to make us addicted to their platforms, literally.
The thought process that went into building these applications, that thought process was all about how do we consume as much of your time and conscious attention as possible. And that means that we need to sort of give you a little dopamine hit every once in a while. I mean, it's exactly the kind of thing that a hacker like myself would come up with because you're exploiting a vulnerability in human psychology. The inventors understood this consciously, and we did it anyway.
It almost seems strange to watch Facebook admit to exploiting human psychology. I mean, pleading guilt to intentionally getting you addicted to their media until you realize what we're actually getting dosed with while we're getting our dopamine fixes from their technology. That is something they'll never tell you, and that is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. So to give a little background on my perspective coming into this, I, like probably most of you, I had some doubts about the complete safety of cell phones and the microwave radiation that comes through it. So although I have used cell phones quite a while, I never really trusted them fully enough to like put them against my head, for example, for too long. I usually use speakerphone, and I've always paid extra to have like a landline put in my house as well for longer calls. But all that said, I did put some faith into what studies I assumed must have been done on RF to ensure that these devices aren't too harmful. Most of the news stories you hear about safety are always ending the same way. It's like, it could be bad, it's probably okay, the results are inconclusive. I'm probably like most of you, because I love my technology, I left it at that. So what's happened? This venture into YouTube has definitely had me researching and editing videos with my laptop on my lap many more hours a day than I was used to. And so what happened was, a couple months ago, after a year of this, I noticed that when I would sit down to work, my mind would sort of, well, first of all, I would feel fatigue, just like I wanted to go to sleep, and that's not like me. Then I felt like not just brain fog, but a complete brain wipe. I could not get my thoughts together, and that is terrifying for someone like me whose mind is always organizing my presentation. I'm always thinking of new things and making notes and adding it in. Guys, that was gone, completely gone. So during the summer, my daughter and I actually got to go to where I grew up, first time in many years, to see my sisters and mom and dad, and there was a lot less cell phone reception there and Wi-Fi. And so the contrast of going into that environment and then coming back here showed me sort of a difference, and it let me know, wow, you're really not doing so well in this. So I began thinking deeper about the whole thing, and I realized that I've had Wi-Fi in my house about as many years as I've been getting migraine headaches. Migraine headaches are terrible, and I would get them every 2 or 3 months, and it's literally been going on for a long time, the same number of years as I've had Wi-Fi. So that made me dig some more. Super quickly, get through this little science lesson with me, guys, because it's going to get fun after that. You need to know this. So for those who don't already know, RF stands for radio frequencies, or specifically microwave frequencies within the radio spectrum that make up the lower part of the EMF spectrum. Now, the EMF spectrum is a continuum of all the different electromagnetic waves arranged by frequency and length. So the sun, the earth, and even you and I radiate a particular magnetic field. And don't forget, your brain works by using electrical signals to send messages. Your muscles contract because of electricity sent. And so that's why when somebody's heart stops, they get the electrical paddles. The EMTs use the electrical paddles with shock to get it working again. So it's just important to kind of keep that component in mind when you're thinking about all this. While natural light is also a part of this EMF spectrum, it's in the middle of this spectrum. The upper scale, or the ionizing EMFs, are where you're going to find the kind of radiation that most of us are familiar with being called radiation, like X-rays, gamma rays, things like that. But the lower fields, the radio fields, and specifically the microwave wavelengths, are what we're going to be discussing today. So your phone is a two-way communication device that uses non-ionizing microwave radiation to move the data. So just as do iPads, cell phones, Wi-Fi, anything smart, which really only means wireless. So these microwaves, or non-ionizing, are, especially in America, generally thought to be safe, in contrast to the ionizing radiation, which is pretty well known by now to be capable of causing cancer and damage. Which is why your dentist put that really heavy lead vest over you whenever he is x-raying your teeth. It's to protect your body from needless exposure to the x-rays, which they know can break your DNA. What your grandparents or parents may remember is that these x-rays were not always known to be harmful. They may remember, like my parents do, when shoe stores had x-ray machines in them called fluoroscopes. They would be sitting out in the lobby for the public to use freely. Apparently kids loved them. My mom said that they would run to the shoe store just to stick their feet in this machine and watch their bones wiggle inside these shoes. Wow, creepy. But most doctors in the 50s said that the recreational use of these fluoroscopes was being brushed off as just fine. It was not harmful. The shoe-fitting fluoroscope is not an instrument with obviously hazardous potentialities. It has long been used, and no direct clinical evidence of harm